Have you ever felt that something inside you has changed, but you can't exactly explain what? As if you are living at a different rhythm, feeling more intensely, seeing things that used to go unnoticed? If this is happening, it may be the beginning of something profound, the activation of your spiritual awakening. This process doesn't come with a manual. It manifests in subtle and sometimes confusing ways. Symptoms in the body, disorganized emotions, sensations of displacement, sharpened intuition. All of this is part of a spiritual reorganization that does not occur in just anyone. It happens to those who have been set apart, to those who carry a calling, to those who are ready to remember who they are. Many ignore these signs. They think it's anxiety, tiredness, or just a strange phase. But the chosen ones feel differently, because something inside pulses, even without a logical explanation. And when this process begins, it is hard to go back. Common life loses its shine, and a search for meaning starts to emerge in the heart. In this video, I want to show you the main symptoms of this activation. These are real signs indicating that your consciousness is awakening to something greater. If any of them have already appeared in your life, listen carefully. This is not coincidence. It is direction. And perhaps what you are feeling now is just the beginning of your calling. If this topic makes sense to you, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. This helps me continue producing content for those going through this process. Activate the bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos, and share with those who are also feeling that something has changed inside. Let's go together on this journey. You wake up and feel that something is different. The body, which previously functioned on automatic rhythm, now reacts in ways you don't understand. Shivers arise for no reason, sometimes in the middle of a conversation or even in silence. They are subtle, yet constant signs. Your body is not failing. It is responding to something that began in your spirit. Tingling in the hands, feet, or neck appears suddenly. It comes like small waves and soon disappears. It may be alarming at first, but it doesn't indicate illness. Your energy field is expanding, and these sensations are part of that. The body feels before the mind understands, and when the soul awakens, the body follows. The dizziness that comes without explanation, the feeling of lightness during moments of deep reflection or prayer, are not weaknesses. They are changes in frequency. Your body is trying to adapt to a new level of consciousness. Sometimes this adaptation is subtle. Other times, it affects your balance and routine. Irregular sleep is another symptom. You may feel very sleepy at random times or have difficulty sleeping even when tired. This happens because the body is trying to process what the spirit is receiving. On more intense days, rest becomes essential, and fatigue is a response to the transformation happening within. You may also experience a lack of appetite, or on other days, sudden and out-of-time hunger. This is common when emotions are being reorganized. The body tries to regulate itself. What once felt normal no longer does. Foods that used to please now cause discomfort. This is not fussiness. It is the body asking for more awareness. Another symptom is sensitivity to the environment. You start to feel more heat, cold, or pressure in specific places. You sense when the atmosphere is heavy or light. This physical perception reflects the spiritual opening that is ongoing. Your body becomes an antenna, and it starts to pick up signals that were previously ignored. Mild and fleeting pains in areas like the neck, shoulders, or lower back are also common. It's as if the body is releasing old tensions that have been stored for years. Spiritual activation often releases emotional memories held in the physical body. That's why some pains come and go without apparent cause. Many people, when feeling this, rush to medical explanations. And it is right to seek care. But when tests don't show anything and symptoms persist, it's worth looking inward. Sometimes the body is trying to express what the mind hasn't yet heard. Spiritual awakening is internal, but it manifests throughout the entire being. It is important to respect what the body is asking for. Drink more water, rest more, slow down. The process of spiritual activation requires energy, and your body needs support to sustain the expansion that is happening. It is not being an obstacle. It is part of the journey. If you have been experiencing these symptoms, do not be alarmed. Your body is supporting you in this process. It is trying to adjust to a new version of yourself that is being born. Listen. Take care. And remember, spiritual awakening does not happen only in the mind or heart. It also occurs in every one of your cells. Out of nowhere, you feel the urge to cry. No specific reason, no painful memory. It just comes. And you try to understand, but find no explanation. This does not mean weakness or emotional instability. It is the body and soul releasing old burdens that were trapped. These are tears of release. They are feelings that were hidden, but now ask to come out. The same happens with anger. Small situations, which previously went unnoticed, now awaken a strong discomfort. You are not becoming more aggressive. You are becoming more aware. The sensitivity that increases during spiritual awakening also exposes what has always been there, but dormant. And when this emerges, you feel more intensely. Sometimes, a void arises in your chest, a feeling that something is missing, even when everything seems fine. This is one of the most common signs of awakening. The void is not absence. It is space being created. It is the old leaving so that the new has room to enter. It feels uncomfortable, but it is preparation. These emotional fluctuations can be confusing. One day you feel at peace, the next completely lost. This is natural when there is a reorganization happening within you. Your soul is freeing itself from old patterns, from pains that were not healed, from wounds you learned to ignore. Now, everything comes to the surface to be healed. During this process, you may feel more sensitive to the words of others, the tone of a conversation, movies, music, or even forgotten memories. Everything seems to touch you more deeply. This is not exaggeration. It is expanding spiritual sensitivity. You are not breaking. You are opening space to feel more truthfully. Many try to flee from these emotions. They bury them, distract themselves, pretend. But spiritual awakening does not happen on the surface. It requires surrender. And feeling is part of that. Each emotion that arises comes with a message, a request for acknowledgement, an invitation to presence. When you embrace what you feel instead of fighting against it, the process becomes lighter. You may have moments of deep sadness with no apparent reason, and then moments of intense gratitude, also without explanation. This is a sign that your soul is active. It is expressing itself. It is cleansing. These emotions are not failures. They are healing happening, and each one has a role in your transformation. It is important to remember that there is no right or wrong in this process. Feeling sadness does not make you negative. Feeling anger does not make you ungrateful. Each emotion carries a story, and now you are having the courage to hear what has been ignored for so long. This is spiritual maturity. This is reconnection with your essence. If these days you feel like being alone, retreating, or listening to yourself, allow it. Do not pressure yourself for not always feeling well. Awakening is uncomfortable because it removes masks, exposes truths, and reorganizes everything. But after this cleansing, what remains is lighter, purer, more you. Your emotions are adjusting to what is being born inside you. So embrace each feeling. It is helping you let go of what no longer belongs to you. It is preparing you for a life with more clarity, presence, and purpose. And even when it hurts, know this: it is a sign that you are healing. You start to notice that even among familiar people, something has changed. Conversations seem to no longer have the same meaning. The places that once comforted you now feel strange. It is not arrogance, nor is it intentional distancing. It is that your energy has changed. Your consciousness has expanded, and it is difficult to fit in where the soul no longer breathes. This feeling of not belonging can arise at home, at work, or even among friends from years past. You feel displaced, as if you are speaking a language that no one else understands. This hurts, because you do not want to distance yourself. But you also can no longer pretend to connect where there is only habit. Your soul is asking for truth. You try to adapt, smile as you always have, follow your routine. But inside, something is restless. It is as if the body is present, but the soul is elsewhere. This disconnection is not disdain. It is a sign of transition. You are no longer the same, and this pulls you toward new paths. People may say that you are acting strange, distant, quieter. They feel the difference, but they do not always understand. And that is okay. Not everyone will accompany your process. Awakening is often solitary, but this solitude is not punishment. It is space being created for new, more aligned connections. You have not lost what was important. You are changing what now makes sense, and this requires leaving things, people, and places behind. It takes courage, because the heart still feels affection, but the consciousness knows it is time to move on. And you begin to walk, even without the crowd you once had. This feeling of being out of place is also a call within. When you stop identifying with the world outside, you begin to remember who you truly are inside. The external not belonging invites you to internal belonging. You learn to be self-sufficient, to listen to yourself, to strengthen yourself in silence. Over time, new connections arise, more genuine, cleaner, lighter. People who speak the same language as your soul, who do not demand explanations, who do not try to fit you in. These connections are rare, but they are worth the journey. And when they come, you understand that the phase of loneliness made sense. This feeling of not belonging is a sign that your frequency has changed, and everything that vibrates lower starts to drift away. Not as rejection, but as realignment. The soul knows with whom it can walk. And even though at first this may hurt, further on it brings peace. Because everything that remains is there for truth. You are in transition, between what was and what will be. And this in-between space is indeed confusing, but it is necessary. Each current disconnection is opening up space for encounters that have yet to come. People, places, and purposes that will resonate directly with your new self, with who you are becoming. So if today you feel you do not belong anywhere, do not despair. This is just a sign that you are leaving the old world behind. A new one is being born, more aligned with your soul, your mission, and your truth. Keep going. It is not the end. It is the beginning of a new belonging. Without warning, you begin to notice details that once went unnoticed. A different silence in the environment, a glance that says more than 1,000 words, a feeling in your chest that warns you before a situation happens. This is not imagination. It is your intuition awakening. When the spirit aligns, perception becomes sharper, and you begin to see with the eyes of the soul. You feel when something is wrong, even if no one says anything, or you know that something good is coming, without any concrete evidence. It seems like coincidence, but it is not. It is attunement. Intuition is a form of communication between what you feel and what has yet to happen. And the more you listen, the stronger it becomes. It is a gift that grows with practice and trust. In the beginning, you may doubt. The rational mind tries to explain, distrust, resist. But over time you realize that this internal voice is almost never wrong. Intuition does not shout. It whispers. It speaks softly, yet firmly. And many times, it appears as a silent discomfort, a subtle alert, a something feels off that you cannot justify. This awakening invites you to trust more in yourself, less in external opinions, more in your internal connection. This does not mean shutting your ears to the world, but rather filtering what comes in. Because when you align with your own intuition, you begin to live with more truth. Decisions flow better. Peace becomes the main criterion. You start noticing synchronicities, repeated words, recurring numbers, messages that arrive at the right time. These signs are not random. They are part of a spiritual language. Your sensitivity is heightened, and this connects you with the subtle plane. The chosen learn to walk with faith, but also with perception. Awakened intuition also protects. It keeps you away from heavy places, empty conversations, paths that seem right but are not. It is like a silent guide that orients you from within. Even without a logical explanation, you feel, not this way. And this feeling is real. It is spiritual. It is the heavens warning you before you see. Not everyone will understand this new perspective. Some may even say it is an exaggeration, paranoia, or invention, but those who awaken know what they feel, and they do not need to prove it. Intuition is personal, and when respected, it transforms into a safe direction. You begin to trust the invisible because you have understood that not everything needs to be seen to be real. This is the beginning of your natural gift manifesting. Intuition is more than a premonition. It is a spiritual antenna. And now that it is active, your path will be increasingly guided from within. Listen carefully. Your soul already knows what to do. Just silence the outside and listen with truth. This rejection of the superficial is a response from your spirit to the activation that is happening. Your consciousness is expanding, and it begins to recognize what has essence and what is just facade. You start to desire less quantity and more quality, in friendships, in conversations, in the time you dedicate to things and people. The emptiness that the superficial leaves is replaced by a desire to live more deeply. You begin to seek content that edifies you, conversations that transform you, experiences that connect you with something greater. Distraction ceases to be an option. You want to be fully present in what you do, even if this pulls you away from old habits. This change may cause distancing. Some people will think that you have changed too much, that you are different, but in fact you are just returning to your essence, and not everyone will keep up with this pace. What sustained you before, status, acceptance, routine, no longer holds what you have become. You may miss what is left behind, but you will not want to return, because now you know the value of authenticity. And you can no longer accept the shallow, the false, the automatic. Your soul is more demanding, and this is positive. It is a sign of spiritual maturity, of discernment, of connection to what truly matters. The rejection of the superficial also opens doors to new experiences. You begin to be drawn to lighter people, environments that energize you, habits that bring you closer to what is true. Meditation, reading, contact with nature, more conscious prayers. All of this begins to become part of your day, not as an obligation, but as nourishment. This process may seem lonely at first, but soon you realize that you are surrounding yourself with much more truth. Life takes on another color when you stop pretending, and even if not everyone understands this shift, you know you are on the right path. Because now you live from the inside out, and only what is real has space. For no apparent reason, you enter an environment and feel your body weigh down. A conversation begins, and even before it ends, you are already tired. It is not drama nor physical strain. It is energetic sensitivity. Your spiritual field is more open, more alert, and this allows you to pick up the surrounding vibrations more intensely than before. This sensitivity also manifests with nature. You begin to notice the wind more, the smell of the earth, the sound of water. These elements recharge you. What once went unnoticed now seems essential. Your soul recognizes the balance of creation, and this becomes a refuge when the world feels too heavy. It is common during this phase to need to distance yourself from crowded or noisy places. Not out of isolation, but for protection. Your energy field is expanding and is still fragile in the face of so much external load. Learning to respect this is a sign of spiritual intelligence. You do not avoid the world, you simply learn to preserve yourself. The energetic sensitivity also increases your perception of intentions. You can feel when someone is being false, even with a smile on their face, or when someone comes with a pure heart, even without saying much. This subtle reading becomes part of your daily routine, and it often guides you more than the words you hear. At first, this sensitivity may be scary or cause doubt, but over time, you learn to trust what you feel. You learn to follow what your body and soul are saying. This is not mysticism. It is awareness. It is connection. It is an alignment that few experience, but it completely transforms the way you walk in the world. Your energy is changing, and that changes everything. The environments, the relationships, the boundaries you set, what you attract and what you repel. Do not try to go back to how things were before. This new level of perception is a gift. It will protect you, guide you, and prepare you for what is yet to come. You can't explain exactly, but you feel that you are here for a greater reason. It's not about fame, status, or recognition. It's something internal, a silent certainty that there is something you need to do, to live, to deliver. And even without having total clarity, this feeling begins to guide your steps. It is the purpose wanting to reveal itself. It doesn't matter your profession, your age, or where you are. There's something inside you that pulses, a desire to contribute, to transform, to leave an impact, even if it's discreet. This doesn't come from the ego, it comes from the soul. It's the spirit whispering, "You have something that the world needs." And this moves you, even without an exact direction. This perception may arise gradually. An annoyance here, a persistent idea there, a talent you've always ignored, but that comes back to the surface. You feel that you are no longer satisfied with merely surviving. You want to live with meaning. You want to wake up every day knowing that you are connected to something that truly matters. Not always does purpose come with a clear label. Sometimes it begins with small gestures, listening to someone attentively, writing something inspiring, caring for someone quietly. Purpose doesn't need to be grand in the eyes of the world. But within you, it is immense, because that's where it starts, deep inside. This feeling can also generate anxiety. The mind wants to understand, define, and speed up. But the soul works differently. It reveals itself at the right time. It shows itself in parts. And the more you trust, the more the pieces fit together. Purpose is not something found outside. It is something that awakens within. When you begin to live connected to this, everything changes. You start making more conscious choices. You care more about the impact than about appearances. You find pleasure in serving, listening, and building with truth. What once seemed important now seems small, because your focus has shifted. This perception also strengthens you on difficult days. When everything seems meaningless, this inner flame remains lit. It is this flame that lifts you up, that reminds you that there is a greater reason behind each challenge. And even without explanations, you carry on. Because you feel, because you know, because you were called to something that goes beyond. You're not here by chance. No one is. But few awaken to this. If you feel that you carry something that needs to be shared, even if you don't yet know how, respect that. Your purpose is real, and everything you have lived until now is part of the preparation for it to blossom. If throughout this content you identified with the signs, emotions, or sensations described, take a deep breath and understand. This is not an exaggeration. It is not imagination. And it is definitely not madness. You are awakening. And this process, although silent, is powerful. It's as if your soul is finally opening its eyes to what it has always known, but, for some reason, fell asleep. This awakening may seem confusing at first. You feel that you are changing, but you can't always explain it. What once made sense now feels distant, and even without understanding everything, there is an internal force pulling you toward more truth, more purpose, more awareness. This force is your calling. And you are not experiencing this by chance. You are not alone. Many are awakening at this very moment, going through similar experiences, facing the same doubts. But each one carries a unique piece of this transformation, and yours is special. Yours has value. Keep trusting this journey. It may not be easy, but it will take you exactly where your soul has always wanted to be. Back to yourself.